Hey, hopefully you guys can hear me all right. We're trying something new. I've got a little bit of music playing in the background for the stream. Uh, this is gonna be a super low-key chill stream. It's just a cold Saturday morning here where I live in Oregon, and I thought, feels like I want to hang out with my Final Cut fam. So that's what we're gonna do today. And it's just gonna be low key. I'm gonna answer questions if you have any, or we can just chat about the world, how AI is gonna take our jobs, and that's all right, because we can just live it up on the beach, I guess. Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and see what you guys are saying in the comments. Can you guys hear me all right? We got, yo dude, just watched your other video on 3 things that slow down Final Cut Pro. Hey, I did just post that this morning. I didn't think about that. I posted it the same day I'm doing a live stream. I'm gonna take these headphones off because I can't hear myself very well. And we got Premier Travel up in here. Wow, I'm so lucky. You know, Premier Traveler, I am the lucky one here because you're hanging out with me, so I appreciate it. How are you guys doing? Is everything good in the Final Cut world? I know that we've been getting some lackluster updates, and I would love to see some big updates soon so that I have content to make, but that's all right. Gary saying audio is good. Appreciate you, Gary. Also really dig your profile picture there. I gotta get me something like that. I need a nice, like a big, strong beard like that. I think that would make me come across as more authentic if I had a beard like that. I did change the mics up a bit, so hopefully they sound a little better. I was noticing the last mic I had for live streams was a lot of room noise was coming through, so hopefully this one comes through a little bit cleaner. Premier Travel saying, I'm getting ready for Vid Summit, my first time. That's awesome. I am really, really hoping and planning on going to Vid Summit if they give me the invite. We'll see. I might get banned. But hopefully I can come to Vid Summit. I would love to speak there too and just demonstrate some cool Final Cut Pro stuff. Be like a live stream in real life. It'd be crazy. And bring back the long hair. Okay. The long hair was fun, but man, looking back on pictures, there are so few photos that I'm like, dang, my hair looks really good in there. Whereas with the short hair, I feel like I've got a boost of confidence looking at some of the photos that I have of me. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the long hair will come back someday, but not right now. Ember Din, sup Dylan, good morning from the beaches of Charleston. AI will never take me. That's great, especially in Charleston. AI is not even gonna touch Charleston. So you're set over there. Make sure you guys go check out Ember Din's channel too. He's got some awesome Final Cut stuff going on over there. The beard doesn't add authenticity, only age. Well, but with age oftentimes comes authenticity. I feel like age brings wisdom. So I think the beard does contribute something, especially when it's like a Santa Claus white beard. Everybody is going to take you very seriously if you've got one of those bad boys. Dan saying, I'm a commercial photographer and primarily shoot stills, but I'm looking to do video and I'm in the Apple ecosystem. Any thoughts on Final Cut Pro versus Premiere Pro? Are Adobe's AI features worth it? Dan, that's gonna come down to your own workflow and if you're working with other editors. I will say that for me, I wouldn't jump to Premiere actually. I'd go to DaVinci Resolve if that's kind of the trying to figure out which pro software you're going for. I just think DaVinci Resolve, they're treating their customers a lot better. They are implementing features faster than you can breathe. They're just doing an awesome job over in DaVinci Resolve land. So if you're needing like those extra level AI features or whatever, I would go to Resolve instead of Premiere. Premiere does have some cool stuff with their generative fill and stuff, but I think it's only a matter of time before Resolve gets that. And then if you're looking for just like simplistic, super fast editing, you don't really need all of the AI features like myself, then I would say Final Cut is the ticket. If you want like blazing fast editing, you want to get these videos out as quickly as possible, and you don't want to be fighting the software because there's 5 billion buttons up on the screen, then I think Final Cut Pro is the best for that. So that's kind of the two camps I'm in, is that DaVinci Resolve's there if you really need those extra level tools, the extra level of color grading and everything like that. But Final Cut Pro is just so powerful and fast for just quick and simple editing. So that's kind of where I'm at. Tech Mixer saying this isn't very zoomy. I did a little live stream. Actually, it's about 3.5 hours over on my Patreon. If you guys are interested, I'm planning on doing a monthly stream. We're gonna do it. I just need to set a date and just do it because that's my big problem. So I'm doing monthly streams over on my Patreon now. Over there, I'm able to edit fully copyrighted content. I don't need to worry about YouTube taking the video down, so that's huge because a lot of the times I'll be editing projects that do have copyrighted music or something, so that just opens the doors, and it's a lot more intimate because there's far fewer people, so I can answer your questions in a lot more detail. So if you're interested, go check out my Patreon. That's super fun. It's just patreon.com/thefinalcutbro. That's enough plugging. But anyway, we had a hilarious joke about the quantity of Ken Burns zooms I was adding into a trailer I was making. So we started talking about how zoomy it was. It was awesome. Yes, wisdom. Yep, 100%. Age brings wisdom most of the time. Stevie's saying, that's what I'm discovering every time I try to resolve. It feels like I'm fighting it, whereas Final Cut Pro works with me. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like the Resolve community, they're awesome. They have amazing tutorials and stuff over there. I really like a lot of the creators and I'm close friends with them. So there is an awesome community over there if you're interested in dipping your toe in Resolve. But Final Cut Pro, man, it's really weird to just love a piece of software, but that's what Final Cut Pro is for me. I have been getting a lot of comments lately like, hey, maybe you should change things up on your channel, bring in some Resolve material, you might get a larger audience. And that's true, I probably would, but I just have a serious passion for Final Cut Pro, even though it's lacking in the features and whatever. It's just fun for me to edit there. And so that's the content I'm gonna make. I'm not gonna be searching out more views. I just wanna make stuff I enjoy. And if I can pay my bills with that, then I'm happy. I don't need 4 million subscribers tomorrow. I can just keep plodding along. And as long as you guys keep supporting me, I appreciate it. That makes this possible. I'm just gonna keep doing Final Cut Pro stuff. And if you guys go to Resolve and then in a month come back, I won't be mad. Let's see. Thanks so much for your advice. I want to keep it simple, so it looks like Final Cut Pro is the way to go. Yeah, that's awesome, Dan. Also, I think there's a 90-day free trial with Final Cut, so you can try that out and see if it works for you. I don't know that plugins work for the free trial, but it's definitely worth checking out. Is drag and drop transition with sound effect will be available in Final Cut? Unfortunately, that is not available. That is a feature I've specifically sent in to Apple. I would love to make it so you can have sound effects automatically have, transitions have sound effects and also titles. If those two could come with a sound effect pre-applied, I think that would be a game changer in terms of speedy editing in Final Cut. Also, the ability to save titles as favorites would be just the bomb. If you could like design your title and then save it as a preset, that would save everybody more hours than you can count. In fact, the world might become a little bit too productive if they do that, and I think that's their concern. They don't want people working too hard and getting too many videos out, so they gotta slow you down a little bit. I apologize if sarcasm is not your is not a language you speak. I speak a lot in sarcasm. The one thing I wish Apple would do is integrating motion into Final Cut Pro as one app. I could see the benefit of that, and that's kind of how Resolve obviously works with Fusion. That's the word I'm looking for. I think it could be cool. I think it could also have some downsides. It depends on how they manage kind of the back end, because one benefit of the separated apps is I can export out of motion while I'm still working in Final Cut. It's a small thing, but it does save me some time so that if I have a really intensive project, I can be exporting that. It'd be cool if they just enabled that as a feature. You could export and edit at the same time. Then I'd have no qualms with motion being integrated, but I'm not sure if that will ever happen or not. I think it'd be cool if we had Final Cut and Motion and Logic all kind of combined into an app similar to how Resolve set up, but they would need to be really careful with it, because then you can get into the waters of too many buttons on screen, the app getting slowed down because there's just so much going on in the back end. So it has its pros and cons. Whatever they choose, I'm happy with. I just would love to see some some more key updates to Final Cut. Please stay with Final Cut Pro on your channel. Your content continues to be helpful starting from the time I started with Final Cut Pro 1 year ago. Hey, 1 year ago in the Final Cut Pro land. Yeah, I'm absolutely sticking with Final Cut. Even if Resolve came out and said, hey man, we'll give you $1 million to switch to Resolve, I'd still stick with Final Cut. I just love it so much. And it's just a great community. People are always going to be joining Final Cut and people are always going to be leaving Final Cut. It might feel like everybody's going to the DaVinci Resolve community because there's a lot of content out there on YouTube. That's what gets the clicks, those slightly negative videos about our opinions on Final Cut. But really, Final Cut is still growing strong. There's a big community out there. People are so incredibly friendly online. You can see the Facebook communities and Reddit communities and everything. And it's a great place to be. So let's see. Oh, Emberden in with the super chat. Appreciate you. Gotta bounce. Have a great live stream. Thanks for all the vids, man. Support Dylan, everyone. He's the GOAT. Yes, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, it's go check out his channel. Even though he super chatted me, I'm not saying, he just has really cool Final Cut stuff. So make sure you go subscribe to him. Let's see. Will you do another Final Cut Pro for iPad in the future? Yes, I definitely will. It's the hard part with the iPad stuff is how poorly it performs, and it's I enjoy it, but I keep contemplating making a second channel that's all Final Cut Pro for iPad, because the problem with that is YouTube squashes stuff that is not getting the views. So even if I have a lot of Final Cut Pro for iPad viewers subscribe to me, there's a good chance they won't see those videos. So I am contemplating a second channel where I can upload all Final Cut Pro for iPad stuff. That's not a promise. It's something I want to do, just like I want to do more of these live streams. But yeah. The Final Cut Pro 90-day free trial resets every time there's an update. Oh, that's actually super interesting to know, Philip. Thanks for sharing that info. I didn't know. When I first started with Final Cut, they didn't even have the free trial. So, hey, I have sent you emails in the past just to thank you. Your teaching styles are very rare these days. Explaining and workaround means a lot. Thank you, Dylan. Yeah, I appreciate that. And DS, I'm trying to think if I know the email that would be associated with that, but I appreciate it. And I do read all my emails. My email has just been absolutely inundated with lots and lots of emails from brands, from people needing support requests. So I've gotten a lot slower at replying to emails, which is unfortunate because that's my favorite form of communication. It feels very one-on-one, and I usually get notified when I get an email, unlike comments or even Patreon messages and stuff. I miss a lot of notifications there. So email is the way to go. If you guys need to chat, Dylan@thefinalcutbro.com. I will get back to you as fast as I possibly can. Dan Donovan, what are your thoughts on Final Cut Pro iPad app? Can you start on either the Mac or iPad and then go to the other? Dan, you can start on the iPad and go to the Mac. You also, there is a app, I think it's $5, I don't remember, from Chris Hawking, and it lets you take Mac editing and send it to the iPad, but it's a workaround. It's not great. So I think the iPad's actually really cool. I find it very enjoyable to edit on. There are some big complaints I have with the iPad though, in the features that it is lacking from the main Mac version. So I think it's a really solid piece of software. I know people aren't crazy about the subscription, but it's the kind of thing where you can jump in for $5 at a time, edit for a month, and then go away with it. So I'm not that worried about the subscription on the iPad, but I do think the iPad's very fun. I like using the iPad on planes, and I think it's huge for people that are kind of doing that vlog lifestyle. They want super fast, quick, and easy editing, so they just film on their phone, send it to the iPad, and chop away. I don't think the iPad's in a place for professionals at this time. It does have some cool features like the multicam live stream, I forget what that's called. You can stream, I think it's 4 iPhones at once to the iPad, and then it saves it as a multicam and you can start editing right away. I think that stuff is super cool, and I would love to see that kind of stuff make its way into the Mac. But I don't think that the iPad version quite has the professional level that you need it to kind of get the final polish. So If you're thinking about using the iPad, it's great for getting a rough cut of your video and then sending that to the Mac, which that is a feature that's built in, and then just polishing it off in your Mac. The biggest complaint I have with the iPad version is the lack of plugin support. That is something that Apple promised from the very beginning. When they first released it, they said plugins are coming, I think they said next year or something. But it seems like that has probably posed a larger issue than they were first anticipating. So we're still waiting for plugin support over on the iPad. And I think that really segregates it from the Mac version. So that's kind of where I'm at. iPad's super fun to play around with, but it does lack some of the core features that I really need. Let's see, scrolling down. Which is the best audio plugin for Final Cut Pro? Oh, that is a good question. You know, I'm not super in tune with the audio world. That's why my audio generally sucks in my videos. The audio stuff that I use is called Auphonic to clean up my voice. It's not a plugin for Final Cut Pro, but it's my absolute favorite when it comes to processing the audio. There is Adobe Podcast, which is free. Who knows what they're doing with all your data? So that is a good option if you are tight on your budget. But I think the Auphonic one, it's auphonic.com. I think their tool comes in with more natural sounding processed audio, so that's why I prefer it, and it's worth the money to me. And I also don't like supporting Adobe too much. Dylan, I really appreciate you and your tutorials. I've learned so much from you. Not sure if you answered this, but how do you manage your time to post as you do? You know, that comes from just being super fortunate to have this as a full-time job. So before, when I first started, I was working my full-time job and I really wanted to do YouTube. So it was a lot of just spending hours working on it after hours from work. And it was a full year before I even saw a penny come through to the channel. So that can seem daunting, and it is a lot of work up front, but I do think that if you put in the work, it's absolutely worth every moment of time you spent doing it. And my big goal when I first started was, I'm not trying to become a big, wealthy, rich YouTuber. We don't need any more Mr. Beasts in the world. All I wanted was to pay my bills, and if I could pay my bills and do the thing that I absolutely love, then that to me was a success. And so here we are, guys. I'm live streaming right now from my house, which is my job, and I'm super appreciative. So the way I'm able to manage my time now is just that this is my full-time job. I don't have any kids yet, so that frees up a lot of time. So I'm just super fortunate to have a lot of time, and a big part of that is because of all of you supporting the channel. Let's see. Hey Dylan, my video content I post on my channel is mostly in the horizontal format, but when I make shorts the vertical format, how to move the horizontal format that moves from left to right. So that would be using the transform tool. I can quickly show you that here. I'll switch cameras here in just a moment. Here we go. Ooh, and I just got a little stream deck, so I can switch. Ooh, look how fancy that was. I got the buttons and the dials. It's cool. So yeah, so if you wanted, you would need to, there's a couple things when you're working with horizontal to vertical. So first you would need to format the whole thing to work with vertical. Sorry you guys have to look at this cringy face, but that's what you get for watching my channel. So I'm gonna go ahead and just turn this into a vertical format. We'll go to modify, select vertical, and yeah, sure, why not 720? So when we do this, you'll see the whole content of the video is squished down. And a lot of people's first reaction to this is to use the scale, and they'll scale it up like 400% or whatever to fill it out. Don't do that. That is not the way. Working with scale that way is terrible. It's very slow. So instead of doing that, make sure you just scroll to the bottom of the video inspector and you'll see the spatial conform here. There it is. So just change it from fit to fill, and boom, your video is gonna scale up, and your scale here is going to remain at 100%, which is much easier to work with. So once you're there, you can use the transform tool to slide your video around. I'll go ahead and change this over to transform tool. And you can get that with Shift T. It's just this little icon here, and we can move this all around. So now we can go up here to the top left or whatever, or excuse me, top right, and click to add a keyframe. And then we could slide this video around back and forth. So that is the basics of moving your video around, but I will recommend, there's a great plugin called Bullseye, and Bullseye lets you track a subject in your scene, and then you can lock it to the X or Y axis, and you can keep it centered in your vertical content. So Bullseye is really cool. That is a more recent feature that they just added, and highly recommend. I do have a video on it, so if you're interested, you can check that out. I think if you just look on my channel for Bullseye, it should pop up. So it's very, very cool, and yeah, the tracking's great, and you can use it for vertical content. I keep meaning to make a video about it, but by golly, I'm just too busy making other videos. So a video will come eventually, but yeah, I really recommend that for vertical content creators. Let's see, Matthew, are you working on any text tools? Matthew, great question. Kind of, yes, sort of. It is coming, it will get there. So a hugely important aspect to me when I make plugins is to create a tool that solves a problem that almost no other tools solve, and that has been to my detriment. So like I'll make a transition pack and I'm like, okay, I gotta make it so you can apply this transition to a specific layer rather than everything all at once. So I'm always trying to find a solution to a problem that you didn't know you had, and then realize, okay, this is how it should always be. And with text, I just need to make cool text animations, and it wouldn't be that hard, but I keep thinking in the back of my head, well, what problem can I solve? So I should just do it. You're right, Matthew, you're right. Hey, it's Ben. Hey, howdy. Hey, it's Dylan the Dude. Dylan the Dude, that's gonna be my DaVinci Resolve name someday. Why isn't there an Auto Cut plugin for Final Cut Pro? There's a lot of Auto Cut plugins for Final Cut Pro. Are you thinking directly in Final Cut? The plugin I use, or not plugin, the app I use is called TimeBolt. So TimeBolt's really good, Recut's really good, Gling is really good. So you can look at those three. They do awesome work. If you watch my entire workflow video, I show how to use TimeBolt, and it just trims out all of the dead space in my videos. I use it on every single video. The big problem with TimeBolt, I love TimeBolt, but they went to a subscription model, and so that kills it for a lot of people. But Recut's great, and that's not a subscription, so you can check that one out. Travel, oh man, I can't even say the it looks like you're working off the whole iPhone name thing. It's young. Happy to see you live again. Pressing Command-Shift-G breaks apart compound clip. Yep, that's a huge tip that people didn't know. You can break apart compound clips. You can also parent new compound clips. So you can keep an entire compound clip. Do I show it? Let's show it. Why not? Let's do it, guys. We're switching to the computer. So let's say that this clip here is in a compound clip. I'll do Option G, and I'm gonna jump in that compound clip and really show it. We'll add some text, and you know what? We're gonna say subscribe because, guys, I wanna hit that 100K subscribers, because wouldn't it be cool to have a plaque in the background from all of you? Just throwing that out there. If you're not subscribed, maybe think about it. Okay, so we got the subscribe text here. And if I back out, you can see this is a compound clip. Now the problem is, let's say I duplicate this compound clip, and oh, I need to change the color grading on this second one. I'll jump in, and we want to change everything to blue, and we back out, and you'll notice not only is this compound clip horrendous, but if we come over here, this compound clip is also horrendous. It received all of that same treatment. So there are a couple ways you can get around this. One is to break it apart. So let's go ahead. I'll copy that over. And if you push Command-Shift-G, that'll break it apart. Now you can see the title text. You can make your changes and then re-compound clip it with Option G. So that's one way. It's a great method. And that's what I'm sorry, was saying. But another option, rather than breaking it apart, I will, let's see. It's been a while since I've done this. So I've duplicated that, and I think we go up to clip and reference new parent clip. So clicking that, and you'll notice if I zoom in here, it says thumb clip and it says thumb clip copy. So this is an entirely new compound clip. And if I jump in and make those changes, let's push it over to this horrendous yellow green. Now these two clips are separate, but we still kept it inside of its compound clip. So that's helpful. The main benefit of breaking apart a compound clip would be the fact that you can see the compound clip in context to the rest of your timeline. So if that's something you need to do, break it apart, Command Shift G, then get all your timing set, and then Option G, and then you can retire from there. You are set. So there we go. Hopefully that's helpful. Switch this back. Going through, man, you guys are killing it with the comments. Appreciate you so much. Edits B Finn, hey Dylan, great videos and content, learned a lot from you. Thank you. Hey, appreciate you. Great comment from you, and very, very grateful to have you here. Do I imagine Final Cut Pro will ever support MKV files? I don't know. That's hard to say. At this point, it's been so long. Probably not. Funny enough, the video I just posted this morning, I was trying to convert to a really sluggish video format to demonstrate your computer playing slow with a bad codec. And I tried MKV and I was like, oh, Final Cut still doesn't work with MKV files. So I don't know. It's been so long. Never say never. It could happen. They could shock us all, but I don't know if that will ever happen. Dan, in previous videos, I've seen that you have created plugins. Which of those do you recommend for someone beginning their editing journey? Oh, great question, Dan. So, without getting too salesy here, it does depend on what you're aiming for in your videos. So the plugins that I've made that I think are the most helpful would be Pro Zooms, because zooming in Final Cut Pro's not super great. There's awkward workarounds, but my plugin Pro Zooms is designed specifically for that. And then another plugin that I would recommend for a beginner, it depends. So I just released Pro Splits, which is all about doing split screens around your computer. So that one could be good, but that's only good if you do split screens. So if you're not doing that many split screens, if you're not having multiple pieces of content on the screen, don't even worry about Pro Splits. But if I had to recommend just one for any beginner, it'd be Pro Zooms. That's just because of Final Cut Pro's lack of good zooming tools, it solves that problem. But a lot of the time when somebody's first starting out in Final Cut, I don't really recommend that they buy a lot of plugins until they learn the software, because there's way more tools that are in Final Cut that you don't even realize. And so you're just gonna be wasting a lot of money if you don't actually know the tools are already existing in Final Cut. And then once you kind of learn the layout of Final Cut, you learn some of the effects that are already built in and stuff, that's when I would start purchasing plugins to fill in the gaps for stuff that you need. Hopefully that's helpful, Dan. Hello from Berlin, has started to be a patron. Hey, I really appreciate that. After purchasing all your plugins. Oh man, you missed out. Maybe you did it before, but you missed out on the 30% off. Reach out to me, I'll hook you up with that 30% discount. I got you. Copy that, thank you, yes. I'm trying to use your audio visualizer from Patreon today. That's an oldie but a goodie, Ben. Hopefully it works for you. That one's tricky though, because there's a lot of limitations with how motion works with audio files. So I think I did post a little video saying how to use it. So hopefully you watched that and that's working out for you. Appreciate all you do and help you've provided over the years. Hey, appreciate you, the comedian. Heck yeah, the Stream Deck is a big help. Oh yeah, man, I'm going slow through these chats. I gotta get caught up. Stream Deck, changing my life right now. Not sponsored, maybe someday. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's really cool. I was shocked because it was like $200 for the Stream Deck. I don't really have an angle to show it, but it's got screens all over it, and I was like, dang, that's a really good price for all of the little screens I'm getting that are updating in real time with the content I'm showing on stream. I can see how many of you guys are watching the stream. It's crazy. A lot of value in this. So yeah. Please give a quick browse around your plugins and keyboard shortcuts. You know, Arsh, my keyboard shortcuts are mostly the same as everybody else's, just because when I'm teaching Final Cut, I don't want to accidentally have a keyboard shortcut that's slightly different. But the keyboard shortcuts that are different are going to be talked about over inside of my entire video showcasing my workflow. I posted that video not that long ago. I should just have that as a link saved in my computer at all times, because I do reference it a lot. But my whole workflow goes through the keyboard shortcuts I have changed and the ones I use the most often, and it also goes through all the plugins that I use the most frequently. Thank you very much, Dylan. If you, I'll have a look. Cheers, fella. Cheers to you, my friend. Do a collab with Ryan Angle. You know what? I did reach out to Ryan Angle at one point. Sorry, we got motorcycles ripping past my house. I did reach out to him to see if he wanted to do something, but he didn't respond. So there you go. He's too cool for me, guys. You can maybe go comment inside of his videos, but I don't know. No, actually don't do that. Don't. But it would be fun to you know, get to meet Ryan Angle at some point, because he's killing it over there. He has great plugins too. Matthew Pay, is there a way to use tracking with vertical to keep everything center frame? Yeah, Matthew, so that would be the Bullseye plugin. Maybe you've already responded to that. Just one comment at a time here. But yeah, Bullseye is awesome for that. And if you can find the Bullseye video I did, there is an affiliate link there, so I get like $5 or something if you pick it up from there. Favorite Final Cut Pro guide channel. Hey, I appreciate that. Many thanks for your work, dude. Japan, true story. I went to Japan for a week. Man, I love Japan. Japan, everybody was so over the top nice. It was the craziest thing. Highly recommend Japan if you're able to get over there. Let's see, scrolling through, oh no, I scrolled too far. Here we go. Currently, there is no plugin for Final Cut Pro Auto Cut Firebase Autopod. Yes, there's quite a few. You just have to do a bit of searching online. How to do surface tracking in Final Cut Pro or with motion without plugins. You might be out of luck on that one. So Motion does have a 4-point tracker, so you can kind of replace a screen or something, but it doesn't have really solid surface tracking. That's just something that has never come. Maybe someday, but if you're gonna go surface tracking, the best surface tracker is just Motion VFX's, bar none. It's incredible. I would say Boris Effects, they also have a surface tracker. Theirs is really good in After Effects, but it's not as good over in Final Cut Pro land. So my recommendation is Motion VFX there. If you really need a surface tracker, sign up for a month, use it, and then go on your merry way. Let's see. Oh, okay, Matthew's just, you want a text tool that allows you to use the on-screen scalar circle thing. Easy, Matthew. I could do that. If potential video, I might Patreon that one. Daniel is saying, any idea why audio roll based mixer or similar plugin don't exist? So Daniel, I think that might be a limitation with the APIs available in Final Cut Pro. It's relatively difficult. Like, you can't really make a plugin, to my knowledge. I'm not a developer, but to my knowledge, you can't really make a plugin that changes the features in Final Cut Pro. So everything has to be pretty external, and then essentially it works via an XML. So it like exports a little file, says this is how it should be, and then Final Cut Pro reads that back. So I think it's difficult for somebody to build a roles-based mixer for Final Cut, just specifically because of the clunky workflow back and forth. Now, with the advent of AI, maybe that's no longer the case. I don't know, but that is something I would love to see. Arsh is saying, while importing file to Final Cut Pro, it is set to keep files in place. Later on, I download any asset from the internet. I need to rearrange the folder and then import it again into Final Cut Pro. Huge hassle solution. Arsh, if you're needing to constantly move files around, then I would actually recommend doing the bring files or copy files into Final Cut Pro, because then you can completely move everything in it. It's not a problem. The downside being that you're essentially duplicating every file you bring into Final Cut, so your file size can get huge. But if that's a continuous problem you're having, then yeah, I would go ahead and just let them copy into Final Cut. Pat is saying, hi Dylan, greetings from Poland, man. Pat, appreciate you, love Poland. Definitely want to get back over there. David is saying, I built at least a dozen of your titles and transitions in motion. What I don't understand is color grading my footage. It may be that I'm red-green colorblind that's hindering me. Oh, that's super interesting. You know what's interesting, David, is there is a video I saw online about a colorist who is, I think he is red-green colorblind, and he is color grading for very large productions. I do not have a link to that offhand, but that would be something to look into. I don't think it's impossible to be a good colorist. I think if you learn how to read the various scopes, you can actually be really, really good. So yeah, I do recommend 3 great channels. You're probably already subscribed, but just in case you're not, Eric Lentz breaks down color in a way. We were talking on Patreon. I think he's some kind of savant. Like, he understands color at a ridiculous level. So that's awesome. Another great channel is Brad West. He has a huge plethora of Final Cut Pro content. And then the third channel would be Dylan John. And Brad and Dylan both actually have exceptional color grading courses. You can kind of look at them and decide which one will fit your style better, maybe watch some of their videos and get a feel. But they both have very exceptional color grading courses. Highly recommend both of them. And they go through kind of reading scopes and how important that is and how you can do that in a way that would probably work for somebody who's red-green colorblind. So oh, hey Dylan and chat, happy Saturday. Hey Rob, glad to have you here. And Arsh, can you review my editing? I will be honest, my time is extremely valuable. I can't always. You can email it to me, and if I have a spare moment, I will jump over there and check it out, but I can't review it live or anything here. Matthew, what do you think Final Cut will release next, and do you think it will be in November or next spring? Matthew, if I had to guess, I think the next big update is going to be spring. This is not coming from any knowledge whatsoever, but they generally release their biggest updates in the springtime. I would expect something coming soon, because there are generally this time of year has new MacBooks and Mac Studios and stuff, and they usually release some kind of minor update to coincide with that. So I would expect at least one more update this year, and then I would expect maybe a larger update in the spring, especially if they start to get this Apple Intelligence stuff worked out. I think that's going to be huge for a big Final Cut update. The comedian is saying, is there an easy way to get a clip to replicate another clip's specific keyframe elements, such as only the horizontal position change? Not sure if this makes sense. So let me think of a way, cause yeah, that's a very specific set of positions. So let's jump on over to the computer here, and let me duplicate this. By the way, guys, I released a video today. Make sure you go like and subscribe and comment. So if you wanted to copy just the horizontal position of a video, like the keyframes of it, let's go ahead and add in some keyframes to the position. We'll see if we can do this. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a issue I wasn't considering. So in Final Cut, you can't just add a keyframe to just the X or just the Y. So that would be something that would be better in motion. I don't know if this is possible. Let's see. If I paste the position parameters, and we'll open this up and change this over to position. Yeah, I think you might be out of luck there. Unfortunately, they need to separate those out. I think that would be better. So unfortunately, the comedian, I don't think there is a very easy way to do that, which is a bummer. Other than if you just don't touch the X value or don't touch the Y value while you're creating keyframes and copying and pasting that over. So if that's the case, the easiest way is to do Command C, select another video clip, Command Shift V, or you can do this for multiples, Command Shift V, paste the position attribute, scale, whatever you want. You can also go up to Edit and select Paste Attributes here. So, but yeah, just horizontal or just vertical, I don't think that's possible, unfortunately. Maybe someday we'll get those, like a whole animation overflow, or wow. A whole animation overhaul is the word I'm looking for. That would be incredible. Apple, if you're watching, just bring us the animation tools we desire. That would be incredible. Hey, Premiere Travel purchased my vertical plugin. I appreciate you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I do most of my edits with very large log files. I will shoot about 2 hours of video, but massively edit them to multiple 2-minute or shorter clips. What is a good workflow you can recommend? Randy, that is going to be dependent on the content. If it's just a talking head, I would just place that clip in the magnetic timeline. I would push R. I would push R, get your range selection tool, select a bit, boom, delete it, go through. Just keep deleting it, and that's how I would edit a super large piece of media. How that quick comment described. The magnetic timeline is definitely your best friend there. Another option, if you're trying to cut out space, is I would look at one of the apps that automatically deletes space out. So the one I use is TimeBolt. I also recommend Recut, and I also recommend Glean. So those three are killer. Hopefully that added some value. Please do more live editing tutorial on Patreon and YouTube. Yes, absolutely. I will be doing that when I have the opportunity. Believe it or not, most of my editing is my YouTube channel. So I feel like it would get boring if I always showed my editing process for the same thing over and over again, but I will be doing it whenever it's possible to show a project. I'll be doing that live over on Patreon because no copyright restrictions as of right now. And then also I'll be doing a lot of live Q&As over there and stuff once a month. So I'm doing it. We're locking in once a month live streams over on the Patreon. Hey Dylan, always watch your videos for learning both Final Cut Pro and Motion. Can Motion create a lighting effect like Flash? Shivam, I would love to answer that. Are you meaning like a lightning effect. I'm sorry. I'm a little far away from my screen. Lightning effect like Flash. Yes, I think you could. I think that's dependent on the exact effect you're going for. But what I would recommend is taking a look at some assets online. If you're subscribed to something like Envato, which I recommend, or if you're subscribed to something like Artlist, take a look at their stock assets. They have loads and loads and loads of lightning assets. And drop that in, and then use screen blend modes to kind of get that over your image as an overlay. That will help you a lot in creating lightning effects. But then something else you could check out is my completely free plugin Saber, which is it's trying to be Video Copilot from the After Effects world. It's trying to be his Saber plugin. I can never get to that level because there's a lot of limitations with Motion, but you can check that out. It's completely free and it would give you cool lightning effects directly in Final Cut. So you can check that out. Just look up Saber Final Cut Pro and it probably would come up on YouTube. I don't know. Have I considered making a thumbnail tool with Final Cut? I haven't. Matthew, you know what? You need to be my manager. You're gonna make me a lot of money. I should make that. Hello from Ireland. Ooh, love Ireland. Everybody in Ireland is so incredibly nice. And if you guys are wondering, how does he go to all these countries? Super blessed. I got to go to a whole bunch of countries to film conferences. And so that's the only way I got to travel. Wasn't on my own dime. I wish I had that kind of money. But yeah, I got to go to a lot of cool countries. So love Ireland. It's incredible. Honestly, the Pro Vertical and Pro Zooms are great, but my most used plugin as of late has been Motion Tools. Yes! Appreciate you, Tech Mixer. You're a legend. So clutch. Also, Command Post with the Stream Deck is insanity. Okay, I was just starting to peek into that yesterday. I definitely want to take a closer look at that one. Hello from Brazil. Okay, I haven't been to Brazil, but I really want to go to Brazil. So someday, hopefully it's a good time over there. It better be. Hey Dylan, love Pro Zooms. Just wondering if it's possible to copy and paste a Zoom title. When I do this, it seems to flip the video backwards. Hey Cupcake Football, can you fill me in? Are you on a vertical timeline? That would help me. There's a weird bug with Pro Zooms and I can very, very rarely replicate it, but then I get videos and stuff from people in my email and they're like, what's this flipping thing? And the hardest part is I can't address it because I can't replicate it. And I think it has to do with vertical timelines, but I am working on it. I just am having a hard time figuring out exactly what the issue is. So actually, Cupcake, if you could send me some info on just over email, dylan@thefinalcutbro.com. That would help me a ton if I could see screenshots or videos. And yeah, hopefully we can get that sorted out. Apple should take Final Cut Pro seriously. Who's the editing app that has no keyframing tools? Yeah, I would love better keyframing tools. Maybe someday, Yeah, we'll see. I think they are taking it seriously, but I think they're maybe transitioning directions and it feels less like it's going for the pro market and maybe more for content creators. If you go on YouTube, you will find thousands and thousands and thousands of creators that are using Final Cut Pro that maybe aren't outspoken about it, but I'm always shocked at the amount of creators that I come across. I'm like, oh, that's a Final Cut timeline. That surprised me. I didn't know they were editing there. So I do think that Final Cut's really good for content creators because it's so fast, but I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes over in the Apple world. I do know when they release a feature, they always want to make it the absolute best, so they're taking their time. And I know the engineers and technicians, everybody got to chat back and forth, and there's a lot going on, but it is hard when you see, Resolve dropping updates every other day with 4,000 new features, and you're like, man, where's our big feature update? So I'm sure we'll get there someday, but at this point, I'm just really content with the way I like to edit in Final Cut, and that's just me, and you can decide for yourself. Does Resolve work for what I need? Does Premiere work for what I need? And you can try them all. That's the beauty of the world we live in. So yeah. Matthew, what do I think about the new DJI Osmo Nano Tint 4K camera? That's a good question, Matthew. I'm not much of a gearhead, so I'm not actually tracking that. From the name, it sounds sweet, but I have no idea. I am so out of the gear world, it's crazy. I know most YouTubers are just like obsessed with gear, but that's not where I'm at. Here we go. Oh, I just noticed I got a super chat a long time ago from Clayton. Appreciate you. Sorry, I didn't mention this earlier. How to add the new used controls, reframe, callout, and pip on custom motion plugin. Answer in Portuguese, please. Just kidding. Oh, wish me luck, Clayton. Let me reread that. Sorry. How to add the new used controls, reframe, callout, and pip on custom motion plugins. So Clayton, are you asking? I'm not sure. Are you asking if you can use those tools in motion? Because unfortunately, the way it's designed, it's kind of a one-way road. So everything gets made in motion and then sent to Final Cut. And in motion, it's not really designed for, it's not designed for doing a quick and easy call out in motion. It's more you build the tools in motion and then get them to Final Cut. And then that's where everything's really easy. So if that's what you're asking, the only option you have is to right click on it and select open a copy in motion. And then you'll see all of the tools there, but it's not gonna be super easy to plug and play and get those tools working in motion. It doesn't have like an effect like a lot of other tools. I don't know if that answers your question, Clayton, but At this point, I would just say that all of that was Portuguese, and you're gonna just have to believe me. Let's see. Hello from Thailand. Ooh, that's another country. And France, you guys are all over. Bullseye is amazing. Yeah, Rob, I agree. Thank you for your tips on Final Cut Pro. Absolutely. High tech. Are you a tech channel? Background music is cool. Which tracks are those? You know, I hopped over to Soundstripe. I actually forgot I have music playing. Let me know if it's too loud. I hopped over to Soundstripe really quick and looked up chill lo-fi stream and downloaded a whole bunch of tracks. So Soundstripe, that's where it's at. Ooh, Bullseye is amazing, especially with Pro Splits. That is good to know. I actually never even thought about that. I'm a noob. I just appreciate your tutorials. Thank you. Hey, appreciate you, Makeshift. I was also a noob at one point. We all start there. Top plugins for a tech YouTuber. If you're looking to get into the tech space, Motion VFX has the best. I will say, there are a lot of plugins on Motion VFX that you can still get for a one-time purchase. It's hidden though. Let's see. Can I set this up? Let me set this up, make sure I don't have any personal info on the screen here before I show you the world. Show the world here. All right, we're gonna switch over here to my computer. And let's say if we go to Final Cut Pro, they're gonna hate me for showing this. So pretty much everything at the top is all kind of, you have to subscribe to them. But where was I? There's like a secret menu. Other? Is it other? Yeah, okay, so you go to like other. If you scroll up to Final Cut Pro and go to other, and I think, let's just try this. This isn't guaranteed, but you'll see a lot of these plugins show, it's like, try Design Studio for Final Cut Pro. And honestly, guys, they are killing it with the amount of stuff they're adding to Design Studio. So I do recommend it, but I do know it's pricey. And a lot of people hate subscriptions. So if you find this little down arrow, you can buy for Final Cut Pro for a one-time purchase. So you can't do it for everything, but I was very shocked when I discovered, oh, you can still buy a lot of these for a one-time purchase. It's not all subscriptions. So just keep that in mind. Just throwing that out there. Motion VFX, sorry if I hurt your feelings, but a lot of people hate subscriptions, so that's where we're at. I do like you guys as a company though. Okay, hey, there's my stream stats. Let me go ahead and hide that out. There we go. Can you tell me as a non-developer how you created an app like Template Fixer, Plugin Installer? Arsh, I am also not a developer. And what I did is I asked ChatGPT really politely, and it was a process. It's kind of like chatting with a kindergartner in terms of listening skills, but they have the abilities of a developer who's been programming for 20 years. It's a mess. So I got in ChatGPT, said, hey, how do I start building a piece of software? And it was just a lot of back and forth. It was a big learning curve. I learned a lot about development, but I am not a developer whatsoever. So basically it just comes down to talking to ChatGPT, say, hey, help me create an app. And you tell it what coding language you want to use. I recommend Swift. It was a much better process than working in Python like I started out with. And yeah, that's how you can make an app. But don't build slop, build good apps, build tools that are useful for people. Everybody can make sloppy apps that aren't genuinely that helpful and sell them. Make really good tools that genuinely help people. That's all I ask. There we go. Let's see, Suitcase Junkies. Once you finish a project in Final Cut Pro and it's to YouTube, what do you do with that project? Suitcase Junkies, I just delete it. I don't want to see it ever again. I'm so done. Okay, so my process is kind of copying over the whole project over to a external 20 terabyte hard drive that just stores everything as a backup. I need to make a whole video on it though. There's a lot of nuances and stuff you need to look out for. I would cover it here in a stream, but it's just, there's a lot of little details that are important. Otherwise you got to reconnect your media and everything. So I will have a video on that. It might be one of my coming soon videos. That's the plan. We'll see. I have found DAW Bridge on Mac App Store who permit to work with Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro in sync. What do you think of that? Yes, DAW Bridge is actually super cool. I like DAW Bridge. They reached out to me super early on and I got to test it out, and it's really an incredible piece of software. My problem with DAW Bridge was there's so many buttons on screen, it's really hard to navigate. And so I never really locked it into my workflow. And the app that I am using is actually Soundly. So I've done a couple sponsored videos with Soundly. Don't get me wrong, DAW Bridge, excellent. And they have some of the coolest sound effects I've ever heard. It's a great piece of software and I'm not downplaying that at all. But the app that works best for my workflow is Soundly, because I can just very easily click and drag sound effects directly onto my timeline. It's so seamless. It's just great. Dylan John just did a great video on it. You can go check that out. I just did a video not that long ago about it. So Soundly is incredible. Yeah, that's kind of what I have to say there. But yeah, DAW Bridge, great app. And they're super friendly too. I've met them a couple times over at NAB. I'm trying to export a project and it keeps giving me an error while exporting message at 37%. Ooh, that is a rough one. Ian, there is several things you can try. I'll see if I can walk you through some. The absolute first thing I would try, computer restart, just do that. Next, I would select my project. Actually, I just select everything. Go up to File and delete generated project files. And just, honestly, I would try and delete everything. You can regenerate it at any time. So you're not deleting actual media. I would just clear that out. And I would also, if that doesn't work on exporting, I would try going to Final Cut Pro. And if you close it, you can push Command and Option and then click and open it. And that will let you trash preferences. And that, on paper, it sounds like it's just deleting the preferences of Final Cut, but I've also found it's kind of clearing out mini caches and stuff inside of Final Cut, and that can oftentimes resolve export issues, so that's worth trying. Another option is to just export in small segments over time, so do it in like 1 minute chunks or whatever, and then seeing if that gets it out for you. It's frustrating, I know, I've been there. Those are the things I would try first. And also ensure that you have enough storage space on your Mac. That one's huge and oftentimes overlooked. Those are the areas I would try to see if that fixes your export. But yeah, I don't have a lot of other tips for you other than if you can make sure you're on the latest version of Final Cut, that might help. Man, this Stream Deck is cool. Is Cinepatch plugins good for color grade in Final Cut Pro? Yep, they're very good. I like the Cinematch plugins. I use their Film Convert Nitrate one the most because it's just really great film emulation. Although I've been kind of leaning towards another plugin that's in development more recently, so I might make a video on that soon. I can't mention anything because it's all getting worked on, but yeah, they super great apps. Highly recommend. You can't go wrong with Cinematch or Film Convert Nitrate. I do all my color grading using scopes, so I think that is a solution for folks with color recognition issues. Yes, absolutely. Scopes is where it's at. I'm not even a good colorist at all, so and I'm not colorblind, so I don't know what my excuse is. Matthew asking, can I do a video on rolls and coloring tracks, etc.? Yeah, Matthew, I actually have a couple videos on rolls. They're more audio rolls oriented than they are video rolls. I have found video rolls to be really helpful, but they aren't I don't think they're as significantly helpful as audio rolls are, so I haven't really dove deep on that, but that would be a great video. I should refresh that one. Request for a tutorial for personal movies, not for YouTube home videos, to be more cinematic. That cinematic is very subjective, so it's hard for me to just, make that. But just from the start, all I gotta say is how you shoot a video is huge. So when you're filming, try and think of more interesting angles. A lot of people, when they're filming home videos, will just immediately, they're filming at face level and they're just kind of looking around. Try and get something like a really low angle close to the ground, instantly more cinematic. Getting angles behind bushes. Really think about how you're filming and the lighting. That's gonna be huge. And then secondly, with cinematic films, sound design is key. I mean, I don't know how many movies you've watched where it starts off and it's like the news playing elements of alien invasions or whatever, and it looks bad, right? It's just bad quality, it's weird angles on TV screens, nothing exciting, but it always feels really cinematic and engaging because of that sound design is so key. They've got, the risers, they've got the music, they've got really clean audio on the narration. So if you are looking to make more cinematic movies, focus on sound, whether that's getting a good mic, whether that's adding in sound effects, adding in forest ambience because you're in the forest, or city ambience, adding in whooshes and stuff. All of that stuff is key to making cinematic videos, I think. And then lastly, this one's subjective. I love 24 frames per second. I think it looks so much more cinematic than 30. And immediately, if I see a movie that's 30, it pulls me out, feels less cinematic. That one's very subjective though, so you can decide on that. Film in 24 or 25 for my friends across the pond, and see if that matches your style. It looks a little choppier, but done right, it can look really nice. No worries, thank you so much. I figured out that was the case. Randy, I have the same question. What is the best workflow? Oh, okay, you guys, I hope I answered that earlier. An animation overhaul would be amazing. I agree. There should be some dynamic linking between Final Cut Pro Motion and Pixelmator Pro. 1,000,000,000%, trillion%. There needs dynamic linking back from Final Cut to Motion. It existed in Final Cut 7. It needs to exist now. I think that the amount of users that are working with Motion would skyrocket if that was the case. Is color grading the same as color correction? David, color grading is when you're adding that style to it. A lot of people use it interchangeably accidentally, but technically color correction is solving white balance, getting your kind of contrast levels corrected. It's the cleaning up of the image, and then the grade is what comes after that, and that's where you stylize it to look like Mad Max or whatever film you're trying to emulate. So that's kind of the difference. Grading is style, correction is correction. Oh, and looks like Tech Mixer is dropping in the details there. He should take over my job. What are features in Premiere Pro you like? Adobe does great work in AI. I think that Premiere's, their auto cut stuff is really cool. Their music extension is awesome, and that's something I really want in Final Cut. And then also their content aware fill. Those three things are killer. Would love that. They do automatic subtitles and stuff. That stuff would be awesome. But yeah, that's the stuff I like in Premiere. Travel saying reference new parent clip is a great feature. Thanks for sharing that extra tip. This will be very helpful. Again, it's Travelition. Oh yeah, you told me that in the last stream. Man, I'm a little bit slow. Okay. Randy, thanks for your reply, Dylan, but my question was not concise enough. Not your fault. Let me ask this. Wait, when should I delete, nuke these files after I've made these videos? Oh, okay, I got you, Randy. That is 1,000% up to you. So if I'm working on a client project, that media is gonna stay forever. If it's a personal thing, it just comes down to how long do you want to be able to reference it, right? So, in fact, lately I've been contemplating just nuking all of my old files that I've used to edit for my YouTube channel. Haven't done it yet, but it really just, it's 1000% down to personal preference. Are you ever gonna open that video project again? You have to decide that for yourself. Decide if it's worth the storage costs, and then if it's not, then nuke it, and maybe set up I keep it around for 1 month and then I get rid of it or something. That's all gonna be personal preference. Shivam, thank you so much, Dylan. We'll check out your Saber plugin. Yeah. Arsh has a M1 MacBook Pro, runs great with 4K editing. What do you use? Tell your past experience with multiple machines you have used. Arsh, I am very fortunate to be, I'm kind of trying out the M4 Max MacBook Pro. It's on loan to me from Apple. Super fortunate with that. It's awesome, it's great, and it completely kills, it just slices through everything that I throw at it. I even made a video talking about how to fix performance problems, and that went up live this morning, and I was trying to film bad performance, but everything that I was doing was working totally fine, of course. Usually when you go to film, everything works poorly, and it's the other way around, but this time everything was smooth as butter. So it is awesome, and if you can afford it, go for it if you're in need of a new MacBook Pro. But the M1 series is insane. That's what I came from. I came from an M1 Max, jumped to the M4 Max right now, and it's exceptional. And Apple Silicon single-handedly is one of the biggest changes for me as a video editor in terms of speed and efficiency. And honestly, a lot of the time, what's getting in my way of cutting through a video is just weird bugs and slow hard drives being connected to my computer that aren't being used. So, yeah, we live in the future, guys. That's all I gotta say. Arsh is wondering how old I am. I am 29 years young. Still got a lot of time ahead of me. Ed Parrott, hey Dylan, I thought you lived in California. Was I delusional or have you moved? Ed, I have never lived in California. I've always been in Oregon, but I'm not crazy far from California. So yeah, there you go. I do kind of have a California accent, so I do get that mistake, well, not mistake, but that assumption a lot. When I travel around the world, people think I sound like a Californian. I get told I have a movie star accent, which, not gonna lie, I will take. I've always thought the English-British accent was the coolest accent, but movie star accent, can't complain there. Stefan is saying, I don't know why, but your plugin adjustment layer doesn't work on my Final Cut Pro. I think I will upload again. Hey, can you send me an email? I might have some workarounds for you. If you can fill me in on some more details, maybe I can help you get that refreshed and working again. It's probably a versioning issue, so I can walk you through fixing that. Soundly link, let's see, Soundly, oh, I think it's Get Soundly. I think this is it. I could be wrong. Sorry, Daniel, I hope that's it. I know I'm slow getting through these. And then I went too far. Amir asking, what software am I using for streaming live on YouTube? I am using Ecamm Live. Super great if you plan on doing lots of live streams regularly. It is a subscription. Everything's a subscription. It's worth it if you are a live streamer. Absolutely. If you are doing a live stream once a year or whatever, then maybe check out OBS is awesome. And it's free. So there you go. Any ideas on BRAW support native in Final Cut? Not that I've heard. I would love that. It does seem like the Apple ecosystem and Resolve ecosystem, they're chatting a little bit more. We're seeing more Resolve pop up in Apple's little events and stuff. So maybe we'll get BRAW support. That would be sweet. Oh, Suitcase Juggies, $3. Hey, appreciate you. And unfortunately, Ecamm doesn't show me the little emoji you put there, so I appreciate that though. Soundly is, okay, so Soundly is a subscription, but they have a free version that lets you navigate, I think it's 10,000 local files. So you can try it as long as you want. Also, if you can find my Soundly video, it has a link in the description, and it has a 3-month free trial, no credit card needed, which is absurd to me. They're the only company I think I've ever met that gives you a free trial without a credit card needing to be on file. So that's super cool. And overall, I'm not getting paid to say this, but the Soundly team has been one of the most pro creator teams I've ever chatted with. They're super chill. They don't require me to send in the videos I make. They just, they pay me and they're happy with what I make. They just want me to be able to use the tools as good as possible. So behind the scenes, they're just like really very pro creator, which is awesome because that means I can pay my bills. And also they just make one of the best pieces of software ever. So I don't have an affiliate link with them. They don't have an affiliate system, but I talk about them all the time for free because they're just that great of a company. So, and if I had a subscription that I had to go with for all my video editing, it would actually likely be Soundly, because I truly think that sound design is the most important aspect of a video editor's movie. So that's all I'm saying. Not getting paid to say that. I just like them a lot. Arsh is asking, recently Adobe partnered with Film Impact and introduced 90+ effects, titles, and transitions. My thoughts, that's awesome, good for Adobe, but they also charge like $70 to $80 a month. So I think that's warranted. I think they should be acquiring more companies. Yeah, that's super cool. I'm glad to hear that for them. I think that for Final Cut, you're not spending $70 to $80 a month on the software, so you can use that money to buy 90+ effects, like my Motion Tools plugin that comes with 90+ effects. Mario, hey Dylan, editor from Mr. Who's the Boss. Oh, that's incredible. I love his channel. We had problems with having the original resolution with magnifier zooms in DaVinci Resolve for our camera comparisons. Any tool suggestions? Want to use Final Cut Pro for it. Oh, okay. Magnifier zooms in DaVinci Resolve for our camera comparisons. So Mario, there's a limitation in Final Cut that if you, let's see if I'll demonstrate that. Hopefully you're still here in the chat. Sorry, it took me so long to get there. So basically, when I apply, I have my Pro Zooms plugin, and I'll just drop that in here really quick on this adjustment clip. Whoops. Guys, trust me, this isn't my first day in Final Cut. Okay, so when I apply a zoom on an adjustment layer, the clip, I don't know if I can show this very well. Get some text. No, of course it looks totally fine. So the clip is, the problem here is adjustment clips are limited to the resolution of your project. So for example, I'm working on a 4K project, and I could be working with 8K footage, but if I'm using that adjustment clip, it just relimits it back down to 4K. So the workaround for that directly in Final Cut Pro is to either do the scaling directly off of the transform tool here, or if you are working with effects, you can apply those, and those will work differently. They're going to take advantage of the entire resolution of the clip. So effects are in their own world compared to like an adjustment layer that's sitting above, which is reconverting it to 4K. Hopefully that answers your question. I had no idea that Mr. Who's the Boss was in the Final Cut Pro world at all. You guys are killing it over there, and I need to get some tips on your title animations because those are sweet. Hopefully that answers your question. When is Final Cut Pro switching to DaVinci? Dude, Raph, it's gonna be never. It's just, that's how it is. I like the Resolve world. Resolve is super cool. It's fun to edit in, but I just have such a deep passion for Final Cut Pro. It's where I'm gonna be. So at least everybody can rest easy that as long as Final Cut or the Apple community doesn't come out and say Final Cut's dead, we're not touching it anymore, I'm gonna stick with Final Cut. And so you know that you'll at least have one creator in this space forever. That's the plan. Oh man, hello from Italy. Thank you for everything you do. I took like 6 months of Italian before I went to Italy, so hopefully hopefully I read that correct. Appreciate you, love Italy, amazing place. What are the apps you use for notes? I use this crazy app called, they got really creative with the name. It's called Notes from Apple. I love Notes. Notes is great. Calendar, I also use the calendar app. I'm basic, guys. I don't like spending money if I don't have to, so. Someone was selling my plugins for half price on Telegram. Oh man, appreciate you reporting that. Yeah, nobody asked me to do that. I also didn't get paid for that. So I appreciate you doing that because I'm not over on Telegram. P.S. Prisnal asking me to answer. I hope I answered your question earlier. I'm trying to get through all these. Do I think Final Cut will get an update before the end of the year? Yeah, I do think they'll probably get one more update. I wouldn't expect it to be super major, but I do expect at least one more update before the end of the year. Pratik, need your help related to new viral reel caption style hook using Apple Motion. I can't offer that much help here, but feel free to email me and I can see if I can point you in the right direction. I like Cinema Grade. Oh yeah, Cinema Grade's awesome too. Help me color my grading, and they now have Cine Dream. Oh, I gotta check out Cine Dream. Which software do I like, Premiere or Final Cut Pro, After Effects, or Motion? Well, with my channel name, I hope my love for Final Cut Pro is apparent there. And then if I have to choose After Effects or Motion, it's a very tough comparison. I keep trying to make a comparison video between the two. The problem is, it's a lot more like comparing apples and oranges than you might first suspect. So they're both great apps in their own ways, but with After Effects, if you need to do visual effects stuff, 1000% After Effects is the way to go. If you need to do animation stuff though, you would be shocked at how good Motion is for less than the cost of a month of After Effects. So After Effects is king for visual effects, absolutely. Motion though, does like 80 or 90% of the motion graphic stuff that After Effects does for $50. So keep that in mind. Also, you can pick it up as part of like the education bundle for $200 or whatever on Apple, so it might not even cost you $50. Motion's insane and severely underpriced, great piece of software, but it is hard to compare After Effects and Motion one-to-one because yes, After Effects is better. I would expect it to be better. It should be better because it costs a lot more. So yeah, that's kind of the comparison there. Owen Productions, howdy. Always good to see you here, Owen. I never delete anything. More storage is cheap. I dump it off to external SSD. Oh yeah, there you go. So you don't have to delete your projects. I'm tempted to delete stuff though. Although I could use it to train an AI and then I don't need to ever film a video again, right? Kidding guys. My DJI drones use D-Log and Final Cut Pro has great LUT support, but I found the new Apple LUT looks as great. Oh, that's good to know, Randy. Appreciate you sharing that. I'm using M1 MacBook Air and can't afford better Mac, so what is your advice for boost my performance? I'm also using Apple Motion for making my own templates at Final Cut Pro. I'm editing at 4K 60 a lot. That is, so actually my wife has been editing a lot on an M1 MacBook Pro and I am very shocked at how good it is. So I wouldn't be as stressed about that. It depends on if you're adding a lot of effects, but I did just put a video out this morning on the channel about getting some performance back in Final Cut. I definitely recommend you check that out and see if any of those tips would help you out with your editing. 4K 60 is a very high resolution to be editing with. Even on a high-end machine, that's a lot of data you're pushing through. So obviously higher end machines can handle it, but it is just a lot of overhead, and you might want to consider, do I really need 4K 60? Maybe you're doing gaming content or something like that, and that's where 4K 60 would make sense. But if you're not, then maybe go to 4K 30 and save yourself some of that overhead. My timeline is too busy and the M1 is extremely slow. Yeah, it's gonna be tricky, and it could come down to RAM too. Just depends on how crazy your timeline is. M. Bumley, which feature would you most like to see Final Cut Pro in the future? This is the question. So me personally, I would love to see an animation overhaul, but I know that's not the request that everybody has. I think the common thread that everybody wants is just auto animated titles and captions to keep up with the internet right now. So I think that's where things will eventually go, but I would love to see an animation overhaul at some point. Chunkin saying, so sad motion VFX went subscription. Yeah, it is sad. It is understandable. It's a tricky thing. They have a much larger operation than you would first suspect. I thought it was like a couple dudes hanging out in a closet making some awesome templates, but they have like 70 employees, and all of these people obviously need to pay their bills. They're making the best products available, like just they're making the best plugins for Final Cut Pro, without a doubt. And so it's the price you have to pay for high quality. So it does make sense. It is rough. It's the world we live in. But it is cool to see that they still offer a lot of their stuff for one-time purchase on their website. I auto-cut my timeline in DaVinci. Oh, that's a cool way to do it, Arsh. I never thought about that. What if I built it as an effect? Yeah, Mario, I would build it as an effect and then quickly apply that onto your videos, and you would still get all that resolution bonus. Another option you could do, Mario, is, let's switch over to the computer. If you're just doing basic scaling stuff, scale it up and then do save effects preset and save that scale. And then you don't even need to build it in motion or anything. And then you'll still get all that resolution. Alex with the super chat. Appreciate you, Alex. Thank you so much. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, it looks like, man, I'm catching up here. Travelition. Hey, I did it. Hey, Dylan, is there any shortcut for adding a transition between two clips without creating hold frames when we don't have enough footage at the end of the first clip, start of the next clip? Not really. So one option you do have that you could look into, it depends on the type of transition you have, but you can use an adjustment clip, the new adjustment clips in version 11.1 with transitions. So if we switch over to my computer here, for example, option A, drop in this adjustment clip, and if I go to my effects, let's go to my glitch transitions maybe. So if I drop this on, you'll see that these glitches do apply to the adjustment clip. And so what you can do is just have a transition on this adjustment clip and place it over the top of the two clips. The important aspect of this that you need to remember though is that you have to have the entire screen kind of fill up during the transition for this to work properly. Because for example, if I were to add a dissolve transition, absolutely nothing would happen between the two clips because the transition's affecting more of the adjustment clip than it is anything. But unfortunately, yeah, the hold frame's your best bet there. Trying to think of alternative options other than you could maybe throw it into a compound clip and see if you could add some sort of media here to the beginning. This is not a good workflow though. So like you could add a gap clip or something there at the beginning and then add your transition and see if that works, but I don't think that's a good method. So yeah, there's not really a great workflow there. Maybe one of those tips helps you, I don't know. Appreciate you, Alex. Thanks for all you do, man. I've learned so much from your videos. Yeah, that's awesome. I am so stoked that I get to do what I do. We're fully in Resolve, but I still like Final Cut Pro so much, so I wanted to use it for the camera's comparison at least. Oh, okay, that's sweet. That's good to know. Man, we gotta hang out, Mario. I got questions. Which lower thirds titles do you like? I can tell you how we do it, no problem. I would have to think about it. I would have to go look, but we should reach out over email. That'd be fun. Suitcase junkies. I was keeping my project, but I realized I don't go back to them. I think I'm going to delete the projects from my external drive. Do it. Be free of the burden of the storage. You have all of that media. Hopefully you don't regret it. That's all I gotta say. What iPhone you use and storage? I have the 16 Pro Max with 1 terabyte so that I can film in sweet ProRes. The 17s look fun. I would love to try out some of the ProRes RAW, but I have 16 right now. Cheers from Bulgaria. Love your videos. I've been learning a lot from you. Thank you. Appreciate you. I would love to go see Bulgaria. There's so many great countries out there, guys. How to give animation to characters without layering all parts or mPuppet. That's gonna be mPuppet. Again, Motion VFX coming in with the best plugins. There's a big issue while using mask making weird line or glitch on masked object or characters. How can I fix that? So I've actually seen this mentioned a lot and I don't have a great fix for you, unfortunately, outside of messing with the feather. I think that's gonna have to come from the top over at Apple. I do recommend submit feedback. You can submit feedback at any time in Final Cut by going up to Final Cut Pro and selecting Provide Final Cut Pro Feedback. I recommend everybody do this whenever possible because the app's only going to get better with their feedback. And believe it or not, they do genuinely read every piece of feedback they receive. So if you're experiencing these issues, make sure you report the feedback, because the more people they see reporting that same piece of feedback, the more likely we're gonna get a fast fix on it. Enzo Castream, does compounding clips make the timeline and everything run with less resources? I actually don't know. I've never tested that, and that would be something really great to know. I do know, for example, if I were to come over here to my timeline and expand everything, oops, select it all, expand audio components. So it is harder for Final Cut Pro to run with like all of these additional components. It's a minor hit on performance, but if you can keep everything condensed, collapse audio components, Control Option S, I guess is the shortcut there. I do know that there's a little bit of a performance boost there, so maybe consider that. I would imagine it is easier for compound clips to run because there's less thumbnails and stuff it has to generate. So I would imagine so, but I don't have any proof of that. If you have Pro Tools with the educational bundle, they have an auto mastering tool that's amazing for amateurs. That's actually super cool to know, Rob. If you don't mind round tripping that, and you learn loudness meter is and you lean loudness meter is invaluable. That's super cool to know, Rob. I'll actually have to look into that. I need some help mastering. Is motion difficult to learn? I'm wondering because I am not sure what I would use it for. That depends on how you learn. I personally think Motion's one of the easier programs to learn. It looks complex up front, but it's very similar in its learning curve to Final Cut Pro. And honestly, a lot of the interface is just flipped. So for example, in Motion, like my transform tool and stuff that's over here on the right side would be on the left side over in Motion. So stuff like that's really simple. Then your effects they'll also be either on the left side or up at the top. But once you kind of learn the basic layout, it's actually quite simple to get into Motion because a lot of the design of Final Cut is available in Motion. So all of your keyframes and stuff visually look the same. So that's easy to pick up. But Motion is much more valuable if you are somebody who's creating a lot of motion graphics for your videos. So you have specific title styles you want. If you have a specific lower third that you want for your video, if you have like a subscribe animation you've built and you want everything to be custom, that's when motion is really, really powerful. It's also really powerful for saving kind of a favorited preset of some of your favorite plugins. So for example, if I were to go over here and we'll take a look at my Pro Zooms, maybe I've downloaded this plugin from the Final Cut Bro himself, and you can right click and select open in motion. And what's cool is a lot of the time a plugin might not be exactly what I need it to be, right? There's preset settings that are not great. So I can go to the inspector in motion, and if I'm in the inspector, I can see all of the available controls that are over in Final Cut. They're all available here, and I can set up the presets however I want them. So for example, maybe I want motion blur to always be enabled by default. I can go ahead and check that box. I could always have prism enabled, and maybe I have the prism at a high amount. So you can go through and set up your settings how you like them, and then you just save it with Command S. And now anytime I drop this plugin down on the timeline, get a little beach ball here, I can drop this in, and those settings, sorry, we have to look at this face, maybe I'll zoom over here. So anytime those settings will be available here on the right, you'll see my motion blur is already enabled by default. The prism amount's enabled. I don't know why it's giving me that black bar. I don't like that I'm seeing that. Yay, bugs. So anyway, that's when motion is really valuable, is when you go in and like save the presets that you like to work with. That's the stuff that I love motion for. Is it hard to learn? That's just up to you. And if you're somebody that picks up, you know, the technical world quickly, I do have over, I think, 170 motion tutorials on the channel, so you can start diving into those. And then when you're feeling like, man, I'm ready to take the full leap, I do have my motion masterclass, which is over on fcbplugins.com. And Arch is saying motion is great. The biggest problem around is that there's simply no community around it, not much tutorials, forums. Arch, there's not as much as After Effects, but there's actually quite a large motion community. So you gotta just dive in. We gotta become the motion community that we wish was there. That's the thing. The After Effects community didn't exist when After Effects started, so let's just build the motion community. It's awesome. We get to be that community. Hi, Dylan. For MacBook, what USB-C hub or adapter do you use, or do you suggest to connect external storage and other hardware? Great question. I've been on the look for a really solid USB-C hub, so I don't have a recommendation. I will take lots of recommendations here in the comments, but for external storage, I have 4 of these just sitting here. The T7 and T9 drives. This is a T7 Shield. So these drives are excellent. I use them all the time. The video I just posted today actually recommended it. I use those all the time. I have 0 hitches with editing. They're very reliable, so highly recommend the T7s and T9s. I do have a link in the description of this live stream that kind of showcases all of the gear that I generally use to make my videos, so you can check that out. Travelition, when I export multiple projects in Final Cut Pro specifically, if they are in different resolutions, then 90% of the time it fails and it doesn't even show any error name. That's really interesting. I should dive deeper in that. I would love to get more info on that, Travelition. Rob, if you have Logic Pro with the educational bundle, they have, oh yeah, okay. Did I already read this? I think I did. Mario, yeah, sure, mate. Would be a pleasure to share some knowledge. What email should I shoot a message to? Dylan@thefinalcutbro.com. My dad rolling up here in the comments. Do you know if anyone still uses Works4X to shrink and archive projects? I think you do, don't you, Dad? That's a good question. I actually need to take a deeper dive into Works4X because I would love that. Daniel, I think I discovered you and your plugins from Richard Taylor. Hey, Richard Taylor, what a legend in the space. That guy, he has been sharing about Final Cut Pro probably since before I was born, if we're being honest. Richard Taylor is such a legend. Love that guy. Chaos Control. Closing the index tab seems to help performance. I'm not sure why. Oh, that's actually a great one. Again, my dad coming in with the tips, guys. If you're wondering where I got my Final Cut Pro knowledge, it's from my dad. So if I switch over here, I've got the index open, and this index can take a lot of performance because it's trying to figure out time codes and writing all the names and all the thumbnails it's creating. So just closing that on the left can also save some performance. Worth noting. Do I still offer a motion training course? Guys, I promise I didn't pay my dad to say this stuff. Yes, I do have my motion masterclass. Thank you very much. Why download FX Factory Pack? Not working on copy paste process. I don't know. I honestly can't offer you any info on that. FX Factory is great though. Go check them out. Top creators to learn motion. Simon Ubsdell is one of my favorites to learn from. He gets so deep into the nitty gritty. Great place. Ripple Training has so many amazing classes on motion on their channel. Jen Jaeger, one of my absolute favorites. She's just a great person, both online and in person. Who else? Oh, James Zahn, I'm saying his name wrong. James, I can't think of his last name, and I wish I had a link to his channel. He started making some motion tutorials that are just so high quality. I really wish I had a link to his channel. James, Jameszzhan, I'm pretty sure is how you spell his last name. Also, I've seen this channel, Motion Time, I think is what it's called, just pop out of nowhere, and that guy is killing it in motion tutorials. Super recommend you check that out. I think motion is gonna have a rise in the creator community because it's awesome. It's just under advertised. Can you please make a profile for Elgato Neo for Final Cut Pro? I don't think I can because I'm not quite sure what that, like a color profile, is that what you're asking? Hey Dylan, do you notice any lag in Final Cut Pro after recent updates? I've got maxed out M1 Max, or is it too old now? I use ProRes Proxy, but that's super laggy too. Funny you should ask. I have actually been noticing a bit more lag in Final Cut Pro with the latest update. I'm not sure if it's OS related or Final Cut Pro related because I got both at the same time. Not a great idea, but this is my livelihood. I have to talk about the problem. So I have actually noticed some lag, and I did film a video that was gonna say, hey, maybe hold off on the update. And then I just got too busy and I didn't get to publish it and stuff. So my recommendation right now is hold off on updating if you haven't updated yet. And it's noticeably laggier lately, and I'm not quite sure. That's kind of what prompted my video that I posted this morning. It's just, stuff is just a little bit more sluggish. So I think the main reason might be the new UI is a little bit harder to process or something like that. But yeah, I am noticing lag. I don't know what would be the full cause of it. Oh, Rob typed Pro Tools and he meant Logic. Okay, that makes sense. Saturday brain, absolutely. Whoa, I scrolled too far. Thank you for tutorials. I learned a lot from you. I've made tremendous progress at my gaming content. Oh, that's super fun. Just, I should ask that too. I poured a huge amount of effort into a video packed with massive tracks and editing, but YouTube barely showed it to anyone. How do you stay motivated when your work gets no recognition? That is the age-old question of being a YouTuber. So you just have to expect at the beginning it's gonna be really hard. It's just a lot of days of putting enormous amounts of effort into your videos and then not getting the views you're expecting. But then you also have to reframe your mindset around it. If you've ever gone to an event and there are 100 people in a room. 100 people is actually quite a lot. And it took me a while, but once I started to think about, okay, this video got 100 views, and then I was imagining that video being shown to 100 people in the room with me, I was like, wow, that would actually really get my nerves going. 100's a much larger number than we anticipate. And you always see these huge creators, the Mr. Beasts of the world, that get 100 million views on their videos. And so you think that your video is not being significant or anything, but really, like, just even having 5 people watch your video is insane. And it only takes one of those people out of the 5 to subscribe to increase your subscriber number one more. And so it's really just, you gotta lock in for the long haul. If you wanna do YouTube genuinely, you gotta very critically look at your own work and know that you can always improve. It's really easy to go, oh, this is the easy type of content to make. I just keep blasting the same content. But the number one issue I see with a lot of gaming creators is they don't offer an interesting commentary to their gameplay. It's just them getting headshot after headshot in Call of Duty or whatever. And there's no interesting content for a viewer like myself to engage with. And so I usually click off. So you really have to critically look at, am I bringing up interesting topics to talk about with my audience? If you look at some of the biggest gaming creators, you'll notice that their content isn't just highlight reels of them building cool stuff in Minecraft. It's them genuinely engaging with their audience, bringing up interesting topics around the world of gaming, and trying to tell a story a lot of the time throughout their gaming. It's less about highlight reels and stuff that I see all the time, and much more about building that close connection with people on the other side of the screen, and not forgetting that one view is a human, and most of the time it could be a bot, but most of the time there's a human on the other side of that single number. And like, you think about all the life experiences and stuff you've had, and then you're watching a video and you are one of those viewers, you can kind of put that number to, man, I'm losing the words. You just really genuinely think about how one view is a real life person who clicked on your video, and that one view is actually a huge achievement. Just one view. And it's so easy to compare yourself to other creators, but really you gotta just focus on what you can do right, and focus on telling good stories and creating engaging content that's genuinely going to engage with somebody who might not have any interest in you as a person at the beginning. And that's all I gotta say. There's my little rant for the day. How to make a PKG file? That's developer world stuff. There, I can't tell you that. ChatGPT is probably your friend there. How much RAM is your Mac using up right now? I look to stream like you, so how much RAM should be enough? Let's see if I can answer that. I'll look up activity monitor. We'll find out. Let me take a sip of my ice cold tea now. It was warm. Right now, Ecamm Live is using 33% of my CPU, and it's using 2.14 gigabytes of my RAM, if that helps. So if you had 16 gigs, you'd probably be all good to live stream. Suitcase Junkies, I was working on a project and I realized I needed to add a clip to the project after I finished it. Is there a way to add a clip without affecting the timelines? I hope this makes sense. Are you talking like adding it to the magnetic part of the timeline? Because you could just place it on top or on bottom and it shouldn't affect everything else in your video. I don't know if that's what you're asking there. Thank you, that means a lot. Absolutely. Can I run a production company with Final Cut Pro only? Hey, I think you could. I edited on a television program for 4 years and we used only Final Cut Pro. I've edited or helped edit seasons of shows and we used Final Cut Pro only. I think you absolutely can. It's going to be dependent on if you're working with clients who need the end project file, like if they want a DaVinci Resolve file at the end, that's where you might run into issues. But I think if you have all your employees, you can absolutely work all in Final Cut Pro. I will say that Resolve is a little bit more catered to collaborative editing. I think you can actually have multiple people editing on a single timeline at once. They also have their Blackmagic Cloud thing. So it is more designed around collaborative editing, but I think if you're keeping your team real small, Final Cut Pro can absolutely do that. Trevolution, Dylan, is there a way to undo a cut made with the blade tool on a clip even after making other changes? Yes, you can. So here we go. If you make a cut here, there we go, I got a cut. If you have this dotted line, that dotted line indicates, hey, oh wait, when I do the zoom, it doesn't actually zoom on Ecamm. I just realized that, sorry about that. When you have the dotted line, you can always delete a cut by selecting it, but it has to have that dotted line. If that dotted line does not exist, that means that there's a cut, there's a difference in time between the cuts, so that that cut cannot be undone. So if you want to undo that cut, you would have to extend out the front end or back end to make sure that the timing lines up, get that dotted line back, and then you can clean out that cut. Hopefully that helps answer your question. Mario's saying, I like how efficient Final Cut Pro is with RAM. Still feels crazy to see 96 gigabytes of RAM being maxed out each time I open a Fusion composition in Resolve. That's what's crazy about Fusion. I added just a little noise generator thing on a clip. I was just trying to create some cool neon effects for fun, and Resolve just figured I would learn it. And it just killed performance on computer. And I have the studio version, so it should take full advantage of the Mac. But it blew my mind just how much that killed performance. Crazy over there in Resolve World. Dave, always good to see you here, Dave. Dylan, thanks for the great content. I'm more than happy with your motion course. Hey, appreciate that. I will pay you later. Wink, wink. Any chance that you might do any videos using M-Tracker 3D ideas or ways to get a better track? That's a good idea, Dave. That is a good idea. And that's all you need to know. Man, what a great name. Yeah, I should do that. Getting cleaner tracks would be really solid in M-Tracker. Not off the table. I'll write that down as an idea. Frank, have you noticed that since they have, according to them, perfected magnetic mask, it makes more mistakes in the analysis? In fact, excellent results are better by manually advancing frame by frame. I'm trying to think. I feel like I've had relatively similar results. I just did a video a couple days ago and I used the magnetic mask and it was really rock solid. So I honestly, I'm not sure, Frank. I will say that a lot of people are experiencing a bug right now in Final Cut Pro 11.2 where there's like a tiny line around the selection, and that makes results not as good. But I personally have had pretty solid results lately. It's a good question though. Rob, I just started a gaming channel last Sunday. First video got 7 views. Hey, 7. I think I'm one of those, right, Rob? My next retrospective went out Thursday and it has 80 views. There you go. But increased the views of my first to 20. YouTube is hard, but so fun. That's incredible. Congrats, Rob. Probably magnetic mask there. Oh, that was so simple and yet I never noticed. Thanks again. Absolutely. Suitcase junkies, add to a magnetic timeline, didn't have enough of the clips to put on top. Oh, okay, so like you needed to extend out the duration of the clip. I would try maybe retime editor for that. Maybe I'm not understanding your question there correctly. Did I update to the new Mac OS and is Final Cut Pro stable on it? Hopefully you saw the little portion before. I would hold off just a little bit longer, maybe till we get a Mac OS Tahoe .2.26. I keep forgetting it's macOS 26. Yeah, I would wait till a .2 version because it still feels like it's a little duct taped together at the moment. Hey bro, you teach me a lot. Thank you very much. So glad. Thank you for following me along on the channel. Also M-Surface Tracker tutorials too. Yes. I wish I had more moments in life where I needed to use surface tracking because M-Surface Tracker is so good. When something is past front of the tracked surface, everything goes down. Can't get a decent result. Yeah, absolutely. That would be a great tutorial. I think over on Motion VFX's channel, they've been posting a lot of tutorials using their own tools, and they might actually have a video talking about how to get through that. So that could be worth looking into. Did we do it? Did we get to the bottom here of the chat? Look at us, guys. This is the old me with the the long hair. For some, those were darker days, and for others, those were brighter days. I think that was one of the most amusing parts about getting a haircut, was seeing the comments of people that were for it and against it. And in the end, I was just like, guys, I'm just a guy making video tutorials. I don't know that my hair makes a difference. But it was amusing. It was amusing. Alrighty, well, this has been a ridiculously fun stream, but I am going to wrap it up. I'm going to go eat some lunch and rest my voice. More streams are coming, guys. I bought a Stream Deck Plus, and I'm loving it. It's making it a lot easier to run streams, so expect more to come. Over on my Patreon page, which is only $5 a month, I'm going to be doing a regular monthly stream where I will be doing Q&As. I'm going to be doing full beginner courses on stuff like Motion and Final Cut. I'm going to do a lot over there. I'm really excited about it. I just posted a 3.5-hour stream of me editing a trailer, which was super fun. So yeah, there you go. I'm done selling. $5 a month. That's all I gotta say. Really appreciate you all. You guys are the greatest community ever. Thank you for always showing up. This job means so much to me. I'm so grateful. I don't know if I'm ever gonna experience burnout because I just sit back and I'm just like, wow, it's crazy. I get to go edit for fun. I get to show you guys cool tricks that I learned along the way. And I pay my bills with that. So very, very grateful. Let's do this again. And I will see you all again. How can I get a t-shirt or other merch? Not today, not today. Maybe someday, Okay, I'll answer. Oh, there's so many great questions popping in again. Daniel's got good questions here. Do you find Final Cut Pro native audio tool good enough? And have you thought about a tutorial to push it to the limits? Daniel, I'm not an audio guy, so I actually find the audio tools in Final Cut sufficient for me. If I need better tools, then maybe I'll push it out to Logic or something. All right, wrapping this up. Appreciate you guys stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. I don't know when that'll be, but it'll be soon, I hope. All right, talk to you later.